Gauravani Pracharine Nirvishesha Paschatkaleshata Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Jaya Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadara Srivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hey Prabhu, how will it change?
Rama
In
Rama,
the
Hare Hare. Bolo, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare
Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare
Hare,
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare
Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare
Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna,
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Krishna Krishna,
Hare Hare, Hare
Hare
Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Bolo, hey, hey.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Hare Rama,
Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hey!
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare.
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Ramo Ramo, Hare Hare.
Together. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama,
Rama
Srila Prabhupada ki jai.
Jai.
Thai Gaur Premanandi, Hare Shri Radha Vrajgadev Bhagwan ki jai. Shri Jagannath Vallabh Tamai ki jai. Shri Radha Natwar ki jai.
Hare Krishna, dear devotees. Thank you very much for joining Sunday Feast. As you see, there are a lot of people are joining. So there's a families also joins. There's also YouTube broadcast is going on. This has been watched by many other devotees around the world. And then I just want to take a few minutes to express my gratitude and also introduce Dhananjaya Prabhu, his guest Dhananjaya Prabhu today. So he came to Columbus one time, but this is officially coming to Sunday Feast virtually and giving his valuable time and his also association. He's going to talk about it. You would have seen he loves Kirtan and Srimad Bhagavatam. When he chant, he just immersed and he enjoys. So that's one thing that attracted myself to him. So Dhananjaya Prabhu, I met him first time in 1998, Portland, Oregon, when I was living there. And I was working in Blue Cross Blue Shield that time. Somebody invited me for home programs. So that there I went there. I met him first time. He was living with his wife, Ratnamala Mataji, and then one daughter, Janavi, that time. When Mataji was carrying other child. So he used to do home programs. Then I used to go there, and he used to take us to temple. We used to go for holy name, harinams, and also some services here and there. So Prabhu got introduced to ISKCON early 90s, and he's a disciple of His Holiness Radharani Swami Maharaj. His counselor is a famous Krishna Chandra Prabhu from Radha Gopinath. He was being trained under them, so he was very, very humble, very knowledgeable, down to earth person, and then loves to serve devotees, loves to associate, and loves to read Srimad Bhagavatam. I got introduced those days, and then and I got laid off. I had a lot of time. So eventually I found out he was also looking for jobs. So we both on the same boat, had a lot of time to spend each other. He literally taught me how to put dhoti, how to put tilak, how to talk. Right from he literally picked me from garbage. I'm here because of him. Whatever I have, whatever I learned, I'm eternally grateful for Dhananjaya Prabhu. He's a touchstone. Whomever he came across, so many devotees. I meet here and there so many people. Somehow or other, he impacted so many people, either directly or indirectly. And those people impacted the other devotees. As I said, Prabhupada always says the devotee, a tree is judged by the fruit. So Prabhu, it's almost 4 decades practicing Krishna consciousness, impacting so many devotees around the world. I'm one among them. So thank you very much, Prabhu, Dhananjaya Prabhu. And he has 3 kids. The first is Janavi, I said. Second is Sridevi. Second is Jayanand, and third is Sridevi. So they're all grown up, studying and working. So now he lives in San Antonio. He also travels here and there, but hopefully we can also get his physical association one day. Having said that, thank you, Dhananjaya Prabhu. So it's all yours. Next 45 minutes, you can take over and talk. And at the end, we'll have a question answer session. Thank you very much. You're the same person. You didn't change 22 years back. The way you look is still same. Same smile, same. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Naveen Krishna Prabhu. Om Gyantimirandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshuro Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Guruve Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Stapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamayam Tadati Swam Padantikam Vandeham Shri Guru Shri Yuta Padakamalam Shri Gurum Vaishnavamsya Shri Rupa Sagrajadhan Sarganalan Raghunathan Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devo Shri Radha Krishna Pada Sagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamsha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namostute Tapta Kanchana Gaurange Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vancha Kalpatarubhyasya Kripa Sindhubheva Cha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Shivasadi Gaura Bhaktivinoda Hare Krishna Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama Hare Rama 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 Hare Hare Jai Shri Prabhupada ki Jai. Hare Krishna.
I forgot to mention the topic today is actually fasting or feasting, a festival of relationships. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Yes, Prabhuji, thank you very much. I don't deserve this kind of introduction. I deserve more of criticism and chappals on my head, but you are so merciful that insignificant person like me, you think it has some value. That's the greatness of a devotee, that any insignificant person you just glorify. Actually, we try to give Krishna consciousness to so many, but not everyone takes it. And Naveen Krishna Prabhu was very, very sincere, and he loved to hear Srimad Bhagavatam. We used to have Kshetranya Prabhu coming in. And after the class, we used to read Srimad Bhagavatam together, myself and Shiva Prabhu also. So it was such a wonderful experience. We were just enjoying reading Srimad Bhagavatam together. It was such a joyful experience. So when he was leaving to Columbus, I remember we discussed that wherever you go, you will flourish, but there's one condition: you should go as a humble servant. If you try to expect that these people should respect you and they should give you some nice service, forget it. Go there to wash the pots. Go there to think what menial service you can do. You remember Naveen Krishna Prabhu? Yes. So
Yes, Prabhu, I remember. That was my first service.
So this was so if we have this kind of attitude, which Naveen Krishna Prabhu has, we can be we can fit in any congregation. We can do any nice, wonderful things. And it's all happening by the glance of Nityananda, which is my worshipable Lord, God Nitai. And by mercy of Srila Prabhupada and previous acharyas, So we have given this lineage. So we are extremely fortunate. And I also like to thank all the congregation of Columbus, which gave so much love to actually one of the thing I would like to know, there's I would like to share actually that Columbus devotees especially, they are very unique and wonderful because they have been allocated one of the biggest project in America, the biggest temple. So to sustain that temple, we need to have a foundation. So I thought that this topic could be a very important because temples are not always built with the money and resources, and good management is, of course, it's important, but it is built by the love among devotees. So that's the most important aspect. Having a love among devotees is so critical that when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu was going and living forever and going to take sannyas, he was about to shave his beautiful long hair. And at that time, Mother Sachi was standing on a doorstep, and the tears were flowing from her eyes. She knew that Nimai is going to take sannyas. And at that time, she actually, Lord Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told two things to Mother Sachi. I'm living, but you will always find me in two important things. First is Krishna's holy name, and second is association of devotees. So these two things, if we actually remain, we will find the Lord in any situations of life. So this is a most important aspect of our life as a Hari, Guru, Vaishnavas. It's very important to have, last time I was just hearing a beautiful seminar we gave on the holy name. It's very important to have a very strong relationship with the Supreme Lord, vertical. And then we can have a very good relationship with all other devotees, horizontal. So it's very important to have, when we have a wonderful relationship with the Supreme Lord through the chanting of the holy name, our rounds becomes very fixed. We learn to get up early and cry out the holy name. Chanting is nothing but crying out for Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. So we are actually chanting for the pleasure of the Lord. So when we actually chant in that consciousness, our heart gets purified because we are associating with Lord Himself. So, Nama Chintamani Krishna Chaitanya Rasa Vigraha Purna Shuddha Nitya Mukto Abhinatva Namino. So it is stated that Nama Chintamani Krishnas. It is Krishna's holy name is like Chintamani. It has all the mellows. It has all the rasas. It is Abhinatva Namina. It is none different than Krishna himself. So when we say it is none different than Krishna himself, that means Krishna's holy name. When we chant Hare Krishna, that means Krishna is there. And when we chant very feelingly and very helplessly, then the Krishna appears on our tongue and dances. And just like a Kaliya on his hoods, when Krishna was dancing, all the poison was coming out. So we have so much lust, anger, greed, and all that poison will start coming out when we chant the holy name of Krishna. So when we start chanting the holy name, all the poison, and finally we get subdued, and when we become humble, Trunadapi Sunnishena, then the real taste will come. Trunadapi Sunnishena, Tarorapi Saishnana, Amanina Manada, Kirtaniya Sadahari. So the Kirtaniya Sadahari has a very deep connection with Trunadapi. So when we understand that Krishna is the ultimate controller, I am nothing. I'm simply insignificant servant. So I just wanted to share with you, if we actually surrender everything to the Lord, that Krishna will actually take care of you. We were happened to move from one place to another, and we are about to start a center here in San Antonio, Texas. And at that time, we just decided whatever money we have, we are just going to give everything, and we're just going to see what's going to happen. So we decided to sell our home and to do everything, whatever in our budget and everything, to start this particular center, which costed us more than what we thought of. When we said, this is our Vanaprastha in this world. Naveen Krishna Prabhu is about to turn 50. It's very important. When we turn 50, I've already crossed 50. Today is his birthday, so Maharaj has said that when we go for 50, the signal becomes from green to yellow. So we got to understand we have to hurry up because time is very short. And to become a yellow to a red, it doesn't take a long time. So whatever we have to be every minute, every second. The more advanced we become, more careful we become about the time, more careful we become about how we actually use the every second. Krishna consciousness is all about conscious of Krishna every second. We may be very nice among devotees, and other time when we are not, when we are away from the devotees, we may become constantly in Maya. We may be going and searching on internet, and so many news and everything may be bombarded. So we have to first learn to have this vertical relationship. That's the most important. Unless we have Krishna, we can't give others Krishna, in a sense. So therefore, we have to follow those people who have Krishna. So that's why association is very important. Amito Kangala Krishna Krishna bole thaye tava pache pache. Ohe Vaishnava Thakura Dayala Sagara Edase Karuna Kari. So we want to actually worship devotees because Krishna in his heart, he always avoid those loving devotees. If Krishna is constantly thinking about devotees and devotees are constantly thinking about Krishna, it's ever increasing love, ever increasing reciprocation, just like a rose petal in spiritual world wants to shine very nicely for the pleasure of Krishna, and Krishna is happy. Seeing Krishna is happy, the rose petal becomes more happy, and it's just the joy keeps increasing. Anandam vadivardhanam pratipudam purnamrita swadam. It just keeps growing. The spiritual life is unlimited. It just keeps growing. But there is one catch. There's one catch. What is that catch? It's that how we understand and how we treat devotees. Our spiritual life is flourishing. It is stated that when we chant and hear the Krishna's holy names, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. There is also a weed starts growing simultaneously. The weed of anarthas, thinking that I am something, I'm significant, I am this, I am Mr. So and so. And if the weed starts growing, and if we don't understand the weed is growing, somebody calls us senior devotee, and we feel, oh yeah, Haribol, you got it right. No. If we think we have something, immediately we fall. That is our fall starts as soon as we think we deserve something, as soon as we think that we know something, that immediately we start falling. We are only representative. We are only giving Krishna to others. So when we are in that situation, when we start thinking that, okay, I have nothing, I have only Krishna and Krishna's holy name, I'm simply dependent, just like a child who is calling for the mother. The child doesn't have possession. If we are in that consciousness, we make so much advancement. We have simply nothing. So therefore, our first qualification is we are simply dependent on the mercy. So when we look at other devotees, we should think that Krishna is constantly thinking about them. So how wonderful they are. Recently, I had like a severe heart attack just a few months ago. So right before that, 1 week before that, I was just telling devotees, don't take association so cheaply, because you may not get it again. You don't know when you are going to associate with devotees. This pandemic has actually, we may not be able to physically associate, but it has brought so many people, unknown people. And I couldn't come to the Columbus, though I was there in Dayton for 3 months. I couldn't make it, but this pandemic actually brought everyone together. So this is wonderful. But if we take the association cheaply, then it may be taken it away from us. Just like a child who is not aware of their parents, how they have earned hard-earned money, and he starts spending lavishly because he doesn't know how value of money. The same way, if we actually do not relish and understand this is our fortune, this is our privilege to be in association, it's a privilege. It's not our right, it's a privilege. It is bestowed to us. There's only from karma you can reach to jnana, from jnana you can reach to dhyana, but from dhyan, yoga, you cannot reach to bhakti unless it's awarded to you. That's why association of devotees is so important. The bhakti is given, it's been actually, the path of bhakti is opened up because of the association of devotees. So I remember when I used to be in many times, I used to go to many different places in India, being a supermarket, and I used to go to several sadhus and offer my obeisances, and they used to think I'm a city boy, contaminated, so they used to just tell me, go away. But when I met His Holiness Radhanath Swami, my Guru Maharaj, for the first time, I was bowing down and I was just folding hands and getting up, and there was so much humility and so much love. And I say, he was folding hands and he was saying, I hope you come again. I said, whoa, me? Everyone just kicked on my face here, and he is the one who's calling me. And that was the time I was looking for the loving relationship. My father had just passed away due to the heavy, it was a pretty bad scene. He was vomiting blood, and he had the tongue cancer. His tongue was cut off without giving anesthesia. He was howling in pain, and he was in total, and as a 20-year boy, I had to see all this terrible, going through all those memories. And he left his body, and I was looking for the connection. I was looking for the relationship, but I couldn't find it. But somehow or other, some devotee gave me a cassette. That time it used to be cassette, and I heard the philosophy, and it really attracted me. And I said, this is it. And when I went there, I got that relationship. I got that connection. I got to hear the beautiful philosophy. I was just immersed. I was saying, this is it. I was looking for birth after birth after birth. This is it. And within a week, I started chanting 16 rounds because I was hungry. I was looking for the relationship. Just like Arjuna, when he was, I'm very unqualified. But when Arjuna was actually taking the Krishna casually and he was talking, Krishna didn't reveal. When he started shivering, when he started, his Gandhi above was, he was just slipping out, and I said, Krishna, Harival, I do not know what to do. Harival, I don't know. When we are desperate for hearing, when we are desperate, when Maharaj Parikshit was desperate, when Arjuna was desperate to hear, and then knowledge. So then Krishna revealed. Unless that desperate need is there, it won't be revealed to us. So therefore, we have to have the hunger to hear. We have to have a hunger to chant, and then we understand this can only happen when association of devotees are there. So this is a most important aspect. And over the years, when we come in association, when we hear the beautiful pastimes of Krishna, we get so much enamored and completely nourished by hearing and chanting. But that weed is growing. Imagine, when we are hearing and chanting, there's something else is growing with us, and we have to understand. In Chaitanya Charitamrita is also stated, and that has crashed a big temples. That has crashed a big, I have seen in my own eyes, I've experienced over and over again, wherever I traveled, there was only one problem. Everywhere I went, there was problems of relationships. So this is so beautiful. Krishna's holy name is Anandam, Buddhivardhanam, Pratipadam, Purnamrita, Swadanam. But we see the devotees getting disarray, not because of the philosophy, not because of anything else. Prasada is so wonderful, because there is connection. That relationship is not properly been nourished. So this is an important aspect of any project or anywhere. If you really want to flourish, the first thing is you should ask our congregation, is each devotee is happy or not? If they are not happy, then we should try to help them. Sometimes it happens that due to some past karmic reaction, everybody is different. No, there are not apples everywhere. There are some apples and oranges and grapes and everything. But if we have to understand how we can put all the personalities together, and then we can beautifully offer all this wonderful garment, wonderful flowers, different colors of flowers. We can offer a beautiful garland to Srimati Radharani. But if we see the different colors, and if we start not cooperating and fighting and thinking that this service should be done by me, then everything collapses. If we have to first analyze ourselves. If we become very happy seeing the other people glorified, seeing the other devotees are being glorified, Hari Bol, if they have been doing so wonderful, and are we feeling joy about it? If we feeling envy and hatred and, oh my God, why he's getting so much glory, why not me? Why everything should be me? That means we have to really focus on hearing and chanting. This is a self-test. When we start glorifying, the best way is to glorify devotees. As soon as any temple in a world, as we come in, if the devotees of Krishna devotees, if we start glorifying each other and being, so it will become Vaikuntha. There's so much going on outside world. Right now, there are riots going on in America. There is a curfew going on because there's a hatred among blacks and whites and so much conflict. So with all that conflict, if you're taking shelter in a temple and the devotees, when we come in contact with devotees, we are supposed to be getting the stress out. And if they think that there's a problem here also, there's no hope. Prabhupada says you cannot break this moment from outside, it's only from inside. So therefore it is our duty to actually, most important aspect, you can't superficially act like that. Unless we get, right, it's very important to have chanting and hearing should be primemost aspect of our relationship. And then you can see things will start flourishing. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur, one time they were opening a temple in Lag Bazar, and there was a big inauguration, all sannyasis and everyone was there. And Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati Thakur was walking into the inauguration, but he saw there was one devotee missed out. He wasn't there. So Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati asked him, "Where is this devotee?" Said, "No, he didn't like, and he had some different opinion, so he left." He said, "What? He left? My God! We cannot inaugurate this temple, because if one devotee is unsatisfied, forget it. So let's find him." So they found him. Somebody told him he's in a watch store. Somewhere he's repairing. They found him repairing watch. Bhakti Siddhanta Saraswati personally went and embraced him and brought him back. So this is, if we know, if we somehow or other understand that Krishna is putting every devotee upon his head, is putting every devotee upon his in his heart, so how much we should care about each and every one. So it is a different opinion. And some people may not even follow four regulative principle. They may follow completely different ways and the different. That's between them and Krishna. Our duty is to serve. That's it. Our duty is to serve. Gopir Bhartur Padakamalanu Das Das Anudas. If we understand this, we don't have to worry about dealing with anybody, because our duty is to how we can serve, how we can best serve. Actually, it is stated that Krishna himself, he carries in his all different parts of bodies, from the left, right, is like a moon and a sun, and all his chakra is a personality, and Sudarshan is a personality, Padma, Gada, everybody's personality, but you don't see each other fighting with one another. They are very nicely sitting in the hands of Krishna and Vishnu, and they are wonderfully bestowing the mercy, because Krishna is in center. Kaustuba jewel is also a personality. His garment, his flute is a personality. Everybody's personality. Everyone is so sweet, and they are acting in harmony because Krishna is in center. So this is our very, very important aspect. When Srila Prabhupada was leaving the planet, there were, when he used to give class, many times people used to doze, but when he was actually giving a last when he was in Vrindavan, Jayadvait Maharaj was holding the mic, and the scene was intense, and when Srila Prabhupada was giving the translation, everybody was intensely looking at Prabhupada. Nobody was inattentive. Every word what Srila Prabhupada was coming out, it was intense, because they knew Srila Prabhupada we may not be able to hear again. He's leaving the body, and this is the only chance I have. And there were tears in their eyes. Nowhere, you don't see in Prabhupada's that the devotees are crying. Maybe a few of them, but simultaneously, practically all devotees were crying and intensely hearing every word of Srila Prabhupada and fanning them intensely. Why? Because they knew that this is our last hope to serve Srila Prabhupada right now. Is leaving the body right now. Hari Bol. So they were so intense in their service. So the same way, if we understand that we may not get this opportunity to serve devotees. Every devotee is sent by Srimati Radharani for my upliftment. Every devotee is here to teach the glories of Krishna. And how will I actually serve them and love them with all my heart and give everything, whatever I have for serving devotee? If we have this tendency, if we have this service attitude, the whole moment will flourish. It will flourish. We put every devotee on the pedestal and start worshipping them. Thank you. Thank you, Prabhu, thank you. And we talk about Krishna, and we have a Sankirtan, and the association of devotees will become such a beautiful thing. Actually, Sachinandan Maharaj, one time he was just saying that in a Kartik, he took the vrat. If you want to talk about service, you have to tell some pastime of Krishna or talk about Krishna. Only then you can talk to the other devotees during Kartik. And then devotees were thinking, oh my God, I have to talk about Krishna for every little service I have to do. They were just paranoid, but later they realized this is what we should be bringing in among devotees. Because if we too much get caught up in service and everything else and forget to talk about Krishna, remind each other of Krishna, the whole thing will not flourish there. It will whole thing, eventually there will be Maya will create pain in our relationship. It may be among devotees, it may be among anything. Maya creeps in when there is no chanting and hearing. This is the gap she finds. Yes, he is not chanting. Let attack him. We are in illusion. Oh my God. Yeah, illusion, and you are just swayed away because she found the gaps. So we have to understand these are the gaps. So when we understand that we are simply the instrument, when Hanumanji was asked what you can do, he couldn't reply to Jambuan. He said, "Can you fly?" He said, everybody was saying, I can fly 100 miles, 5 miles, 100 miles. But Hanumanji couldn't reply because he said, I can't do anything without the mercy of Lord Ramchandra. Huh? Because the question was wrong. Jambuan asked question, can you actually, how far you can fly? So I can't do it. So when Hanumanji was falling at the feet of Lord Ramchandra, that time he received the mercy by touching. He touched the hands of Hanumanji. Please get up, and he wasn't getting up. So when we actually bow down, when we bow down to devotees, when we bow down to his wonderful associate, then we receive the empowerment. So if we want to be empowered devotees, so let the Lord mercy flows through, you have to know how to flow that mercy. So it can only flow through when you bow down. The tree which grows very nicely, it depends on how much we bow down to each other. There are some trees, of course, they have a beautiful network like a redwood tree. So they are just having very good network, and then it just goes so high. So similarly, my dear friends, our devotion, we have very limited time. We can't even. There is not much time during the class. Also, we just have a very limited time here. We have limited time on earth. 100 years, we don't even live that much, my dear friends. We have very limited time. Now it's our opportunity. The best way, Prabhu's until giving the secret, the best way is to please the devotees. If we learn to please the devotees and serve them without any motivation, we can please Krishna. Because pleasing Krishna, it may be very tall order, but we can please a devotee. When Hayagriva Prabhu was, when he had a cancer at the last minute, and he was actually in New Vrindavan, he was actually holding hands of Radhanath Swami, and he was just saying one thing, I just realized now, with all this years of experience, I realize now, and he was speaking from the heart. He said, Krishna is the only shelter we have. And he was giving up the body, and he was saying, Krishna is the only shelter we have. And Maharaj said, that's the truth with everyone. But many times, most of the people, they forget. So we have only shelter is Krishna and his devotees, who reminds us of Krishna. So if we actually somehow or other learn to please the devotees, learn to serve them, then that community will flourish in so much that everybody will start looking at it. Our chapati, I remember in 1989, 90, when I first joined, uh, there was my Shiksha Guru was Bhakti Rasamrit Maharaj, actually, initially, um, like his Devamrit Prabhu that time. And we used to spend hours together and opening hearts and talking about different aspects. And there's so much joy and nourishment and which we received. And it was like he used to just hold hands, and it was just putting hands around my shoulders, and he used to talk. He is the first one who came to our home programs. So you could see that there was a connection. There was so much love. If we wouldn't have received love, I wouldn't be in Krishna consciousness. So there are so many people are waiting right now. This pandemic has created thirst among devotees all over the world. They are hungry for the relationship. This social distancing has brought people distance away from they are getting crazy. They just want a relationship. And if they come to the devotees, we should give what is it to be with the Krishna and his devotees. We should get the mercy flow through. They should actually see the beautiful qualities of our acharyas, whatever they have taught us. Acharyas are not just philosophy, they also have an example. Acharyas don't just write books, they also show the example through their words, through their action. So this is what we have to inherit. We have to somehow or other learn to take shelter of Krishna. And just right before we actually depart from, I just want to humbly request all the devotees, this is my sincere request to all the devotees, whoever are listening, please have faith in Krishna and just completely surrender yourself. And just one time with feelingly says, Krishna, I'm yours. Can you please say, Krishna, I'm yours. And take shelter of the holy names. Take shelter of the devotees. And thus you will see revolution. You will see that Krishna's loving hand. I just want to end this with one small story. One of the devotees, his name is Rahtak Prabhu. He constantly chants 100 rounds every day. He chants before Mangal Aarti. And he was so intense. One day, 3 days continuously, he was just singing that he got a stroke. He didn't eat anything. He didn't chant. He was just constantly chanting. He got a stroke and he saw his body, his soul coming out of the body, and he saw Lord Krishna face to face. Hari. So my dear friends, Krishna is a real person. And he asked Krishna, oh my dear Lord, how can I serve you? So Krishna asked him, what do you want? He said, whatever you want. And he came back in the body to tell us that this is the truth. So Krishna is a real person. The Prabhupada has not come to cheat us. It's everything, every word of Srila Prabhupada, every word, whatever we have, it's a privilege. And if we simply follow, it's 100% guaranteed. The spiritual world is right open for us, but all we need to do is to serve. We don't even care. We become so this thing that we don't even care. We just so, because Chaitanya Charitamrita, Spirit, Bhakti, Srimad Bhagavatam, Bhagavad Gita, all the scriptures is all about relationships. If you talk about, there's not much time right now, otherwise I would give like 10 different examples. Every aspect of Srimad Bhagavatam, every aspect of Chaitanya Charitamrita, it's all about his loving relationships. But if we forget this particular angle and try to do everything else other than that, there's no hope. So therefore, our only hope is to take shelter of Krishna and his devotees. So we are in a, I'm sorry I didn't prepare anything much because we are in process. We are running in U-Haul and boxes right now. So, and today is a very auspicious day, is birthday of Naveen Krishna Prabhu. So I request all the devotees to kindly pray for this soul and the family. They are a beautiful family. They are just wonderful Vaishnavas and his good wife, Raja Bhakti Narahari and Parikshit. They are such a wonderful devotees, and all the devotees there in Columbus, Prem Vilas Prabhu, and so many wonderful devotees. So I humbly request all the devotees, just love each other with all our hearts. And don't forget about the differences and everything. All we need to do, open our hearts and love them, and just ask one question: how can I serve you, Prabhus? And just see things will be totally different. Hare Krishna. Thank you. Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Thank you. Thank you very much, Dhananjaya, for wonderful. You spoke out from your heart. Thank you very much. It's really inspiring. So now, would you like to take a few questions? There's a few devotees posted there. And then those who want to ask a question, they can unmute and they can ask the question.
I do not know what is the time. I can't see the time. I don't have can't see it here also.
It's at 12:33 here in Columbus.
Oh, okay.
We have time, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna Prabhu, this is Ram Tirtha Das, but I think Prem Sindhu Prabhu is the first one to go. After that, after Prem Sindhu Prabhu, I would like to ask a question. Prem Sindhu Prabhu, please go ahead. We are waiting for your question.
Thank you, Ram Tirtha Prabhu. So Prabhu, thank you for the class.
Thank you.
You went to so many places and you said, I met you one time. I had come to Portland and I had met you in Portland. I had come for an interview with Nike. And so for a Sunday feast, I had met you while you were there. You may not remember me, but so you said that you went to many places and you experienced the relationship. The philosophy is there, prasadam is there, everything is there. But the problem is with the relationship between devotees. So would you, without naming any devotees or any temples, would you like to tell us what you felt was like a big, the major problems in relationships, having loving exchange, loving relationship between devotees, so that in our temple here also, we can learn from the experiences of what you faced elsewhere.
Hare Krishna. So this is a very sensitive question, but I'll just like to give a generic answers.
Yeah, you don't have to name any temple or any devotees or anything.
Yeah.
Like what philosophy?
The thing is, the philosophy is there, but how much we want to implement that philosophy is up to us. The first is we got to know the center is Krishna. And somehow or other, if we take the center out, that we are serving for the pleasure of Krishna, then there are so many different, just like Srila Prabhupada was showing that if we actually, so many people are putting stones in still nice water, it creates more circles. But if there's one Krishna, then everything becomes nice. So there was you must have heard the Hanuman story about impediments in devotional service when he was actually leaping to Lanka. So there are so many impediments came. The first one was allurement for the comforts and pleasures and then there was another one. Surasa represented another impediment, that how I am better than you, and how Hanumanji was growing and Surat's mouth was also growing. So there was a competition that how I'm better than you and how he can be better than. And finally, Hanumanji became small. He came and came out. So when our center is not, when we don't understand, there's a lot of false ego that comes in, that I know better than you, and there is so it just like there is also called miscommunication sometimes. There was a, just like Shurpanaka, she was completely miscommunicated the message to Ravan, that I was trying to get a nice Sita, and Lord Ramchandra cut my nose. So that was completely, news was misrepresented. So therefore, it is very important to understand from the lessons which we learn in our day-to-day life. This is not just stories we have to hear. We need to know how to apply it. So in the devotee community also, it's very important to have a very open communication. If there is a problem, it should be very, it cannot be channelized through other people, through the gossip and everything else. It can be very clearly communication. And we should have somebody whom, like a mentor system. It's very important. Devotees must have mentor, including family life. If we have spiritual mentors, then a lot of problems, including family life, can be addressed. And the last is, and the last, not the least, is the envy. Just like a Simika was the one which was actually represent envy. If somebody has something better, wonderful, we should learn to appreciate. But if that tendency is not there, then we have to go through in our own heart to cleanse up. So, so it's very, these things are, though we come in Krishna consciousness, we think that, we have come to Krishna and just by chanting, we get something like a pure devotee syndrome, Oh my God, now I'm hearing and chanting, now I've become so pure. But we do carry the luggage and the backlog of so many lifetimes of lust, anger, greed, and so many anarthas are there. It does reflect in our, when our devotion is not so strong, it does come out in some or other ways. It does come out in so many hatred and other stuff, but we must not judge devotees. That's the best thing. We must actually, we understand we all are sadhana siddhas. We are not nitya siddhas. We are not come from the spiritual world. We are trying to be a devotee. So when we understand, when we look at the other people as they all are sadhakas, they are not Mahaprabhu hasn't sent them just to deliver all of us. They are also sadhakas, and they are trying, and they have their, and they are. We must learn to appreciate one another. In spite of envy is there, hatred is there, pride is there, doesn't matter. We keep going with the common goal. If we have a common goal to please Srila Prabhupada, no matter what happens, some may say this is most important project, some will say this is most important, some will say this is how I should want to serve, this is how. So let's understand, let's not judge anyone. Let us jump into the way where we can come together to please Srila Prabhupada. If somebody wants to distribute book, don't want to do deity worship, that's fine. It's a voluntary organization, it's not compulsory. So this is a very important aspect, is that everybody is coming from different background and different culture, and especially the bringing up. Sometimes they bring, they carry from the drug addictions and so many background, and their abusive family, and their culture was different. So when they come to devotional life, they come with so much baggage. And those who are cultured, they say, oh my God, this devotee, we are so different. But we don't understand this person has come from the very deprived background. We don't know that their family was abusing him or so many things, and that's why that person may be behaving differently. So rather not judge people, because everybody is coming from the different angles and different prospect, different upbringings, and they are just starting to become devotional. So let's not worry about their how they are behaving. They may be behaving differently. Let's see the good qualities in others. Let's see how we can best cooperate with one another. I think that is the best thing to do at this time, because we don't know what that person has gone through to come to Krishna consciousness. I know one incident where some devotee, he was young and he was very attached to ladies, and he was very much intimate when he was young. And then after 6 years, someone just banned him from the temple because he was more attached to the other, but he was genuinely want to serve devotees. He was genuinely repenting, and thus he just couldn't get entrance. So he was thrown out. He was just in garbage. So we need to understand that we have to, we cannot give them all importance, but at least engage them in service. Don't think that the background has so bad and they are having so much so many different aspects. Rather than that, how we can best serve them and engage them in some wonderful service, because there's unlimited. Krishna is unlimited. Why we are limiting a certain amount of things? And if somebody speaks bad words, don't hold grudges. Oh, he spoke to me like that for 10 years ago. Let me just fight with him and just beat him up until I don't want to talk to him ever. No. Just love them. The more people blaspheme us, the more it's better for our false ego. Huh? And just saying that, Prabhu, thank you very much. You are just helping me to go closer towards Krishna. So if somebody starts blaspheming us, they say, wow, this is Krishna's special mercy upon me. I must be advancing now, because somebody is thinking that is blaspheming me. So that means I should take shelter of Krishna. Krishna is sending this impediment just to make me more humble, just to take more shelter of Krishna. So if we understand this is a Krishna's plan and what Krishna wants to teach us in this situation, then we can make advancement in all situations of life. There's nothing is wrong. There's nothing called bad devotee or good devotee. They're all between them, Krishna and them. It's not us two. We are simply the servants. So if we have this attitude, things will flourish. The relationship with any temple will flourish, because every devotee will be nicely. The more we get engaged, they naturally gets cleansed. The more they do chant, the more they come to hear. Rather than throwing them out, just engage them in some hearing and chanting. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you.
I hope kind of answers the question.
Yes, so this is from our perspective, but I was thinking if there's something wrong being done, which you observe that this is not correct, then are you not, what are you supposed to, are you not supposed to change it, or especially, if
wrong done in what way? That personally or collectively?
Like you were saying that there was some devotee who was very attached to the ladies, and so he was doing, so in our temple also sometimes some instances may have happened like that in the past, and we have told that person, oh, you cannot come to the temple because they were not behaving properly with and the ladies may not feel. So this is one instance, but there could be many such different scenarios like this, where somebody is deviating philosophically, somebody is doing something which is not conducive for the against the principles that Prabhupada established. So I know that we have to judge in that sense, because otherwise, you cannot distinguish between what is right or wrong, right? If you say everything is right.
There are 2 things in this. We'd like to sharpen our intelligence through hearing and chanting and having a very good association. We must have a good, at least we'll have one person whom we should be able to reveal our hearts. That's very important in this situation. And secondly, if they are deviating by speaking bad to others, we cannot correct it. It's not, we are not the authority to do that. So I think if somebody deviates, we should offer respect from far as a devotee, and we should follow those people whom we feel comfortable and who is following in parampara. The guru is guru as long as he is connected, I mean, in disciplic succession. So if somebody is deviating, it's not ours to decide. We should try to follow the right path, and by criticizing and making groups, it's not going to help. We can just see how best we can ourselves become very strong in our association and then deal with that. So it's very important to have um, not corrective attitude, and we shouldn't be constantly thinking, oh, he's not doing right, so we'll miss the opportunity of those people who are doing it right. We'll waste time in actually finding faults, rather than we associate with their faults rather than associating with good things what Srila Prabhupada has done. So we are where our mind is, we are where our consciousness is. There's so much good things are there, so we just ignore. It's not that our job, unless we have been appointed as a some committee or GBC or something which we have to corrective action if we have to take. That is a different service. But if we don't have that service, so our duty is to serve. So we just have to follow, give respect, just like a chaste lady. She follows her husband and give respect to all other men. The same way we should become chaste to Prabhupada and the genuine path which Srila Prabhupada has given, and give respect to all other things which whoever deviating, that's their problem, but we give respect. And it's ultimately, it is maybe Krishna has a beautiful plan which we don't know at this time, which we can't see it, and that's why we see it's imperfect. But Krishna will reveal everything to us in the due course of time.
Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji.
Hare Krishna.
Please accept my humble obeisances, Prabhu. Thank you so much for sharing your realizations from your heart. They are really wonderful and inspiring. And also, I just wanted to thank you for cultivating Naveen Krishna Prabhu so nicely and giving him very strong. Cultivating Naveen Krishna Prabhu so nicely and giving him strong foundation, because of which he is able to inspire so many of us in Columbus congregation, not only Columbus congregation, but across the world. So we are very, very grateful to you and Naveen Krishna Prabhu for all your wonderful services and inspiring us.
Glories to him.
So Prabhu, I just have one question. I think you may have already addressed partially for Prem Sindhu Prabhu's question, but initially when we are developing relationships, it is very easy to appreciate the other devotee or other person as we are developing the relationships, right?
It's very easy to what?
Appreciate the other person.
Appreciate, yeah. Yes.
Yeah, appreciate their good qualities and, but then as we get more familiar with the other devotee, as we develop little bit more relationships, then we tend to find faults in them because we know little more about them, and then it is easy to see the faults. So how to avoid the tendency of finding the faults but still appreciate and continue the relationship at deeper levels?
It's a beautiful question. Thank you very much for asking this wonderful question. Actually, this is very, very true. But at the same time, we tend to find faults only when the chanting and hearing is not in center. 6 Goswamis and everything, of course, they were very high souls, but we can get inspired by the example. They were immersed in hearing and chanting and writing different literatures. So it's really our great as I was saying, acharyas is not just giving writings, but they are giving us great examples. So all these relationships will only flourish with the minutes and if we have Krishna and hearing and chanting in center. But if we talk about mundane activities, I think, communism is better than capitalism or whatever. If Trump is better than whatever, then the things is the deviation starts coming in. And then we have a difference of opinion. And okay, I think this could be, but we don't relish our relationship. We are just really depriving to having a devotee and talking about all these things. It may be needed, but at the same time, we have to learn to somehow or other put little Krishna's holy name and put I'll give you an example. Anytime any devotees would come to our home, we don't talk, when in Portland, Oregon, I was staying in an apartment. First thing I would do is to have kirtan for 10 minutes before we begin. Kirtan for 10 minutes at least. And then we could talk about other things and other things. So we forget that devotee association means chanting and hearing. So if we put that center and then we start talking about whatever needed to be done, then things will only get, it just flourishes. I'll give you one example. I was when I had my first job in Mafatlal Consulting, I had my friend called Suchak Jani. He's I forget his initiated name, Sundar Govind Prabhu. He's in London right now. So all the time and during the lunchtime, I was just hankering to meet him because I was a young devotee at that time, and we were just about to tell each other which verse we learn by heart. So our association was exchanging. Oh, I've learned this verse by heart, and you, what? Please explain it to me. So this association, we know each other. The more we know each other, the more we relished each other because we were so eager to meet because we are going to talk about which verse I've learned today, and so it was so beautiful. The relationship only grew because we had Krishna in center. It's not just theory I'm talking about. It's just a real life situation. And there has been sometimes our family members may not be as as enthusiastic as you may be. So we have to tolerate them and just think it as a Krishna's gift and whatever, and just try to put Krishna in center with them also. Because as soon as you start thinking anything material, everything starts deteriorating. Relationships are only relationship as long as you put Krishna in center and related activities. As soon as you deviate, you start seeing fault. That means we are not utilizing. As soon as you start seeing the fault, that means you should. That's like a light bulb. Oh, I must put Krishna in center more. That means I'm start seeing fault. That means I'm not doing something right with this devotee. I must put Krishna. So it's as soon as it hits some thought, okay, now this is not right. Put Krishna in center. Now we need, that is a sign. That's a sign Krishna is giving us. You have to put Krishna in this relationship. So as soon as you think, you should immediately say Krishna is giving you a sign. Start putting Krishna in center more. It's not happening in the particular relationship. I hope.
Thank you.
Hare Krishna.
So 2 more questions, Prabhu. So Sukadevananda Prabhu followed by Rukmini Mataji.
Hare Krishna, Dhananjaya and Prabhu.
Hare Krishna.
Thank you for taking the time to share with us and enlighten us about your realizations. And like Naveen Ram Tirtha Prabhu said, I also wanted to thank you for inspiring Naveen Krishna Prabhu in the path of devotion. And he's been a central pillar for us here in Columbus. And I also got inspired by him, so I want to thank you.
Me too.
The question to you is, you talked so much about how one should focus inward as opposed to external, trying to correct people and find faults with people. Uh, and and if I ask this question, don't feel like saying why why is this question coming up again and again? But it's the question really here is in a practical world there are conflicts.
Mhm.
So from your perspective, you are building it seems like you're also uh, on a project in San Antonio, if I heard you correctly in the beginning of the lecture.
Mhm. Yes.
And you also have a community that you have to cater to. So when you're focusing on multiple initiatives within a community, sometimes the amount of time you spend with devotees and cultivating them reduces. So conflict arises. So what is your practical suggestion in conflict management?
It's very important to have a senior devotees there, or some association of senior devotees who can, just like previously the conflicts were taking places, we had a guru who was coming and making two disciples come together and just glorify one another and see what we can do they can do together, hearing and chanting. So that way, the solution is very simple, but we made our mind very complicated. We think that there should be a third ways of doing it, but it's a very simple solution. If we don't, but our sometimes the grudges are so heavy that they don't want to come together. People they don't want to see a face of each other. I'm sorry to say that. They just don't want to hear and chant together. So that's where the authority, or somewhere where the third party whom they both can actually uh, 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 agree to, they can bring them together. So that's the one of the best way to bring devotees together. That's why Balramji is called as one of the name is Sankarshan. Sankarshan means who brings two families together. So the senior devotees are gurus. They actually bring devotees together. They are the representative of Sankarshan. So we have to take that's the first thing. And secondly, we have to see what good things the devotee has done. We have to focus on how good things they have done, and we have to glorify each other. So unless that thing happens, there is no way that they can it can resolve, because unless there is authority or somewhere where we are willing to submit ourselves. We had so many problems, but the thing is, if the other party is not willing to come and hear from you, how much ever you become humble, how much ever you try to come together, it's not going to work unless there is a third party whom they both willing to come together. And it's a very pitiable scene. If we are trying to, when they come together, if we are trying to focus on the faults, it's not going to work. It's going to create more problem, and you might even start finding faults with person who is mediating also. So the best way, when we come together, hear, chant, glorify one another, don't try to focus on faults. And in practical aspects, we have to see how we can best serve, so we don't put uh, uh, we don't step on each other. Because if we go into nitty gritties, there's no end to it. It will go on and on. So that's why we have to go higher. We have to take shelter of something higher, that is spiritual. Material problems cannot be solved with material solution. Forget it. That's not never worked and never going to work. It has to have some spiritual applications. That's my. I'm not talking theoretically. I'm talking the practical aspects of it. Also, very much it's needed. So again, to have like a senior association of devotees where it can be mitigated, that's the best way. If not, then we have to get into the friends of some other devotees who willing to help us to come together and hear and chant. So believe me, it's not something else. It's a solution is right there, but we are not really using it. Just like Srila Prabhupada, many devotees, they come to Prabhupada, they say, we have real practical problems. He said, just come and read Bhagavad Gita and chant. So no, Prabhupada, we have this practical problem. I said, no, just keep hearing. And then eventually they realize, my God, that is not, it's all the mind that is creating so many problems. Really, the people's minds are affected with so many thoughts, and that is creating more problem than the real thing it is. So that's my little understanding.
Thank you very much.
There is a last question from Rukmini Mata. Go ahead.
Hare Krishna, thank you. My respectful obeisances, Prabhu, and
Hare Krishna.
like
you.
everyone else, I'm thanking you for bringing us Naveen Krishna Prabhu. Happy birthday to him. And we also have to thank Naveen Krishna Prabhu for bringing us you. So this is some nice association of
All glories to
devotees we're getting,
Prabhupada.
you know.
Yeah.
All glories to Srila Prabhupada. So I actually had a comment, which is that you keep talking about putting Krishna in the center, and one way of doing that is remembering that Mahaprabhu's pastimes are still going on now. Srila Prabhupada's pastimes are still going on now. And this movement, this is part of Mahaprabhu's pastimes. So there's a lot in Sri Chaitanya Charitamrita about exchanges among devotees. And then also there's, if we look on the Vaishnav calendar, there's appearance and disappearance days of different Vaishnavas, and on those lives of the Vaishnavas, we also find many incidents. So by glorifying them, and we can hopefully follow their example, and I hope also to follow their example. And also, I at least find it very humbling, because then I see that, you know, I'm very, very far from, I'm just trying to be a devotee, but anyway, it's humbling, but it's also inspiring.
The example is very powerful. Yes.
Thank you.
Yes.
Naveen
Hare
Krishna Prabhu,
Krishna.
like there's some more time, Prabhu. Like, yeah, one more question. Like, one of my friends from India is joined. Like, you want to ask a question?
Okay.
Yeah, Shiva, you are on the. Shiva, you can go ahead. You can mute it. Hello, Shiva Prasad. Yeah.
Go ahead, Shiva.
Okay. Maybe that's okay, Prabhu. Maybe he's not able to hear you. Audio issues, I think.
Okay.
Yeah.
This is almost 1 o'clock. Thank you all very much. I just want to thank.
Sorry for delay.
No problem, Prabhu. This is very nice. So once again, thank you all for your wonderful wishes on my birthday, because I don't deserve it. As Dhananjaya Prabhu says, I mean, I don't know what to say about my words. So this is a wonderful gift on my birthday. It's just Radha Natapa's sense of humor. So it could have been some other day, it could be some other speaker, but what is the probability that on my 50th birthday, Dhananjaya Prabhu, who is my savior, is coming to Columbus and spending some time? This is something unfathomable for me. So when I go back and see how Radha Natapur perfectly orchestrated the plan, and it will look at them, we'll be smiling at. They said, like, you know, I'm there for you. But I'm so unfortunate we are not. I don't have much faith, but he's always there. He's always there looking after. So time to time, he proves that, why do you worry? I'm there. So he's not just I've taken care of you all the time, but still every time we come to crossroad, we think, we doubt. So this is one thing I want to say at the end. This is one thing I've seen practically Dhananjaya Prabhu, how much faith he has in Krishna. Practically so many occasions, he go to the last minute, but he has an unflinching faith. Krishna will take care of me. His famous sentence he always says, when Krishna knows how to give, take care of ant who only eats little, but he also knows how much elephant eats. He take care of that also. Can't he take care of me? He knows what is I needed. Something Dhananjaya Prabhu, you always say that smile in his face. One example I'll tell you to illustrate. I didn't know about that. He never told me. I found out after many years later when he was living in Portland. I didn't have a job. He was looking at a job for me. I tried everything, but I didn't know he didn't have a job either. And then he didn't have medical insurance. Mataji was pregnant. She's almost about to deliver, and the company laid him off. The company who brought him from Belgium didn't pay the money. But he was kept on going to the temple. He was kept on doing the home programs, inviting 20 to 30 devotees every week and feeding them. So he didn't have money. Somehow or other, he just kept going. And then with the same smiling face, but he never asked, he never tell anybody. I found out this from other devotees later on. He never even mentioned to me. He went to the time where he went to the last dollar. He didn't have money to pay the rent, to car payment, take care of the kids. But he just went on, Krishna will take care of me. It is 25 years past. He's still the same person. He heard it, like how he sold his house and he's moving to another location, he's starting his temple. What a faith. This is one thing, the ninth wonder of the world for me is meeting Dhananjaya Prabhu in my life. So amazing example living. I've seen many devotees walking the talk is something which very few does it. Nice kirtaniyas, nice class, so many things people do, but living the talk in a simple and staying in the background is something which I was really inspired by Dhananjaya Prabhu and his family. So thank you very much, Prabhu. I don't know tomorrow, but as of today, somehow here in the moment, but devotees mercy will continue for the rest of the life. Thank you very much for inspiring so many people around the world. And then thank you.
Glories to Prabhupada, and all glories to your wonderful heart that it thinks that it can be some service. But what we have is mercy of Srila Prabhupada, and what we can speak and hear is all due to the mercy. If that is there, we can do something, but if that is not there, we can't do anything. So thank you for inspiring words, and thank you for showing such a wonderful example for entire Columbus congregation. We are really proud of you, Naveen Krishna Prabhu. Hari Bol.
I have my own.
And your wife too, both of you actually, and the whole family. Hari Bol.
Very good. Thank you, Prabhu. Thank you for
Hari Bol.
Hare Krishna. Back to you, Shadbhu Chaitanya Prabhu or Hari or.
Yeah, Prabhu, we'll do the Narsimha prayers now.
Yeah.
Namaste Narsimhaya. Jai Jagadish
Hare
Jai Jagadish Hare Jai
Jagadish Jaya Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev, Nrsimhadev, Jaya Nrsimhadev.
Jaya
Nitai Gaur Hari Bol.
Hari Bol, Jai Gaura Hari Bol. Jaya सर्व विनाश नरसिंह भगवान की जय। महाराज की जय।
Hare
Thank you
Krishna,
very much.
devotees. Thank you very much. Well, just a couple announcements before the Sunday feast ends. So this Tuesday is Pandav Nirjala Ekadasi, and we will be having a 6-hour online Ekadasi Kirtan from 3 p.m. to 9 p.m. So that will be on our ISKCON Columbus Facebook page. And if you'd like to participate in that, please contact me or Alec Prabhu, and we will definitely better contact me because I'm making the schedule tonight. So if you'd like to participate anywhere around the world, please contact me, and we will definitely love to hear your kirtan. And then next Saturday, we're having another Shravanam Saturday program, and that's at 8 a.m. Eastern, and that the speaker is still being confirmed for that. And then if any more communications are there, it will be sent out to the email. Thank you very much. Hare Krishna.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Vancha Anantakoti Vaishnavrinda ki jai. Srila Prabhupada. HG Dhananjaya Prabhu ki jai.
Srila Prabhupada ki jai. ISKCON Columbus ki jai.
Hari Hari.
Hari Bol.